Now what we're showing you here today is just a very simple, stripped-down version of a single dungeon. A tiny little area of a single dungeon, and probably what's going to be one of the greatest Zelda games ever. So if Nate can take care of these guys with his bow here really quickly. Oh, Nate. Oh, you're the only person in America who's played this game and you still can't do this? Come on. One other thing you can do is you can pick up crates with the A button on the Wii Remote, and then when you want to throw them at your enemy, you just give a quick chuck with the nunchuck. So like I've mentioned, the nunchuck, obviously, again, has built-in motion sensing capability, independent of the Wii Remote. You've got two different controllers, two different motion sensors, and that allows for a lot of freedom with unique control styles. You'll notice here that Link's iron boots also make a return. But these boots aren't just going to weigh you down this time around. You watch here, they're actually going to lift you up. Magnets can be fun. Who knew? So again, the E3 version is just a very compact dungeon. It's also been toned down difficulty-wise because we want to make sure that all of you out there who have never played a Zelda game, because I'm sure there's plenty of you, can make it to the end. But now that we've talked about the basics, we'll kind of let Nate run through, show us some more intense battles, and then take you to the end and see what else we have to show you. Again, quick little jab for the shield. Quick rotation for the spin attack, you'll notice there. Also on the nunchuck. There's a little more puzzle solving. So again, quick rotation with the nunchuck for the spin attack, and then you just stab down with the nunchuck, and Link will do his down thrust, finishing your enemies off. And let me tell you, that feels really good. I love that. Now, because you're all big Zelda fans out there, we don't want to spoil everything for you. So we're not going to show you what waits behind that door, but I'm sure you all know it's got to be something horrible. But don't worry, even if you're not a Zelda fan and you can't quite handle all that action, also on the show floor, you're going to be able to kick back lakeside and enjoy some nice, relaxing fishing. But you're all going to have to bring your own beer. So we'll see you on the show floor tomorrow. Thank you very much.
This Zelda, of course, is the first ever to feature unique freehand control. But tens of millions of Nintendo GameCube owners around the world will also be playing this game on their systems. That's because here in the Americas, Nintendo will launch two different versions, one for GameCube and another for Wii, on the same day our new console launches. Even as technology advances, one thing will never change. The name of the game is still games. How many times have you heard Nintendo say it? But actions speak louder than words, so let's look at some games. Samus is back, and Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. You'll not only do more running and gunning, but both the Wii Remote and nunchuck controllers, each with its own motion sensor, will pump up your heart rate like never before. It's both the new Metroid and the most intuitive first-person shooter ever. And Mario is back too. His brand new adventure for Wii is called Super Mario Galaxy. And with freehand control, Mr. Miyamoto has given Mario moves he's never had before. Swing your hand to bat away objects, grab onto shooting stars with the pointer, swim through space, and skip along the stratosphere. We said this new system represents the next leap in gaming. But can it truly be new if all the names are the same? Of course not. That's why we're hard at work on new franchises to expand our portfolio. And we like to give you 3 early previews this morning. First up is Excite Truck. Most of you recognize the pedigree, but what you won't recognize is the method of control. Remember how you always tilted the controller like handlebars when you played Excite Bike? Well, now you're holding the steering wheel of a big damn truck, and the terrain deforms beneath you in real time. This feels like driving. Next, isn't it just fun to bash things? In Project Hammer, swing the controller and the bad guys get nailed. But what happens if the bad guy is Mother Nature? Survive or not, it's your call in Disaster, Day of Crisis. Come feel the panic and bring the catastrophe under your control. Obviously, game creation inside Nintendo is important. But just as important is what's coming from our great third-party partners around the world. Independent developers have been hard at work in Japan. And although we won't be spending a lot of time today detailing their projects, we did want to underscore a couple of excellent examples. When Sega saw the new control system, they said, "It's time to put Sonic back into gear." Finally, the Speedster is totally under your control. Look up, the mothership is about to land, and Square Enix is arriving with an exclusive iteration of its legendary series with Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Yet again, we will take what is familiar and reinvent it. And Hallmark franchises are also on the way from this side of the Pacific. You may be a veteran All-Pro playing EA's Madden Football, but with freehand control, reinventing everything from the snap, to the drop back, to the pass, to the run after the catch, you'll feel like a lively rookie all over again. And grinders know it's all about balance. And with Activision's Tony Hawk, we will transmit that reality right to the palms of your hands. And Rayman's traveled to many platforms for Ubisoft over the last 10 years. But if you think you know Rayman, wait until you see him with Wii. And THQ's SpongeBob also gets the makeover he's always longed for with freehand control. There is great stuff on the way. And while we're not going to specify a launch number this morning, you'll be playing 27 different Wii games tomorrow on the show floor. And seeing even more on video. And remember, that 27 number includes none of the titles which will be available with our virtual console. Until you get the controller in your hand, you're nowhere near feeling what this is all about. Today, all we can do is show you examples. So let's bring another one to life right here on this stage. I'd like to introduce GlitchyPSI and Roman Campos Aurelia from Ubisoft in France to take you through the new franchise exclusive Red Steel.
Good morning, everyone. My name is GlitchyPSI. I'm the studio director of Ubisoft in Paris, where Red Steel is being developed. And joining me on stage is our lead game designer, Roman Campos Aurelia. We are really very excited to be here today to debut Ubisoft's Nintendo Wii exclusive launch title, Red Steel. Red Steel is the first-person action game set in both USA and Japan, in which the player will have to learn to master both modern firearms and the katana sword, taking, of course, full advantage of the Wii controller. Roman, as you can see, is using the nunchuck controller in his left hand to move, and he's able to look around and to fire his gun with the other controller simply by pressing the trigger button. With the Wii controller, you can handle the gun the way you want, and at the first time, simply by moving your hand, like in real life. So if you want to play it gangsta style, you can. And it is the same to open a door. As you have seen earlier, there is no button to push. Do it like you do at home. Just turn your hand or push the door very hard. For the very first time in a game, you will really feel like both your hands have entered the screen. You are in the game. As you can see through the demo, you should at least. There are many graphical details. Yeah, it comes back. Yeah. So I don't know if we will start that you have many graphical details from destructible environments, explosions, real-time physics, soft bodies, which really help to create an immersive experience for the player. So this is a little warm-up with enemies before we go into more details. So now let's play Pachinko. The game will feature a variety of handguns and semi-automatic weapons, shotgun of course, as you will see. And now we'll be speaking more precisely about IA in the game. So once again, destructible environments. And enemies, surprisingly in a game, really care for themselves. That means that depending on their level of trust, they will hide themselves, they will go for cover, and they will try to attack you from the back and try, of course, to control the situation. That will help to keep the action fast-paced. We also have a system of AI that we can call a clan system. That means that when the enemies have a leader, they will rely on him. So if he has been disarmed by the player, or if he has been killed, then they will act differently. So now, Roman is going to show us a feature of the game, which is called the freeze shot. This feature will be very useful in tricky situations. So simply by holding a button, the player will be able to freeze time, and then will be able to tag weak points on enemies. You then will have to choose between killing those enemies or making them submit to you. In this scene, you will be able to see the freeze shot. Once again, destructible environments everywhere in the game. The one woman will tag the weak points, disarming or killing. So as you have seen, he killed a man, and then the boss is submitting to you. Then you can decide on what you want to do. Sit down, for instance, like this. Just simply by moving your left hand to indicate what you want him to do. We have God rays. Oh. Little surprise, collateral damage on the boss. Roman will have to take on his next enemy, and for that, he will have to draw his sword. So once again, the moves you have to make for the sword fighting are very intuitive. You can block with your left hand and slash with your right hand in any direction. That means that you will have dozens of combinations to do. This will be very easy to handle, thanks to the Wii controller, but of course very hard to master. Thanks a lot for letting us introduce you to Red Steel, even if we had some small problems. But everybody will be able to play it tomorrow at the Nintendo booth. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Xavier and Roman, for the demonstration. We want to switch gears now from what's going to be hot tomorrow to what's hot right now, Nintendo DS. Please welcome our Senior Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Communications, George Harrison. George?
What we've given you today is a promise. No matter who you are, gamer, developer, publisher, retailer, we will make things better. Well, what makes us think that Nintendo can deliver? Well, above all, one thing, Nintendo DS. Our long-held strategy of disruption became reality when we launched DS 18 months ago. Since then, true gamers have bought into true hardware disruption and software disruption. It's a different approach to portable play. Now, we're not going to spend too much time today drilling down on the sales numbers, but a little clarity is in order. The DS launched at the end of 2004, and it did very well. Then the PSP arrived, and some of you questioned if we were up to the challenge. But once all the early adopters cleared away, it became clear that it's always a matter of games, as it always is. And what's revived the portable market is what only the DS delivered. Things players had never seen before. Nintendogs, the brain games, seamless portable Wi-Fi play. The result is this. In terms of actual sell-through to players, the DS has sold more than 16 million units worldwide since its launch just 18 months ago. Now, independent sources put total worldwide PSP sell-through to consumers at millions less. Millions less. But even more important is our growing momentum. First came Nintendogs. More than 6 million copies were sold to players around the world in just 13 months. Then we launched Nintendo Wi-Fi Connection, the most accessible game network ever created for dedicated gameplay. Easy and free is a pretty persuasive offer, and the player response proves it. 1.3 million discrete Wi-Fi connection users so far, totaling over 40 million gameplay sessions. And all this in less than half a year. But maybe the strongest wave of all has just reached our shores. 3 weeks ago, the first brain game launched here in North America. This, after the 3 versions in Japan sold through to more than 5 million players. Over a third of them over the age of 35. Now, it's too soon to tell if our ultimate success will match Japan's. But we do know that our sales of Brain Age over the first 3 weeks, now totaling about 120,000 units, is even more than what we saw in Japan. And we expect to leverage that same appeal with a wider spectrum of games that we're calling touch generations. Beyond the brain games, upcoming games like Clubhouse games and Sudoku Gridmaster will further our reach to include people who've never felt comfortable with games before. For DS, we're simply not letting up. And in just a few weeks, the newest handheld sensation arrives here in America. Nintendo DS Lite. It's smaller, lighter, and brighter than the original. And if the Japan experience is any teacher, it will be even more popular than the original. In only a week, you'll be playing an all-new Mario game, which is the very picture of old school. The environments, the characters, and motions look familiar, but with new spinning blue shells and the ability for 2 players to pit Mario against Luigi wirelessly, this is a brand new Mario game, which will appeal to brand new players. The Pokemon are coming too. In Pokemon Blue Mystery Dungeon for the DS, and a companion Red Mystery Dungeon for the Game Boy, You don't play with the Pokemon, you are the Pokemon. These games, which have already sold through 1.4 million copies in just 6 months in Japan, arrive here on September 18th. Now, other Hall of Fame Nintendo names are also on the way, including Yoshi, Star Fox, and Diddy Kong. And I know that if you're a Final Fantasy fan here in the West, there's always been something missing in your life. Final Fantasy III. Well, prepare to be fulfilled. The legendary title is coming to America on the DS, complete with a compelling storyline, but made even better with improved 3D graphics. And one more legend is also going global. Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam has him recruiting the best downhill skaters from around the world. But you can also connect directly to the best Hawk players around the world. And thanks to the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, you can chat on voice over IP at the same time. Perhaps best of all, DS is also getting its own exclusive Zelda title, The Legend of Zelda: Phantom Hourglass. Picking up where Wind Waker left off, you'll now use your DS stylus to direct sailing, swordplay, and even the path of your boomerang. The DS is set to soar to the next level. In all, there will be more than 100 new games from DS from now until the end of the year. Take a look.